third episode of the ND podcast. We're here with the Thread Mage, aka Assorted Potions. Great to have you on, man. So yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. I guess the way we could start off is you just came home from a your first like multi-state tour. How did that go?
It went great, and thanks again for having me on. Really excited to hang out with you again and just chop it up. But it was
Yeah,
amazing. That was my first time on the road ever. First time playing outside of Texas, and a lot of places that were totally new to me that I'd never been before in my life, music related or otherwise. So it was fantastic. Met a lot of really amazing people like yourself.
yeah. Thank you. How was the like the traveling and stuff like because I've done like a few I've played like a few out of town shows, and it's always a ton of fun, but it's like very, very exhausting. So I
Mhm.
can't imagine doing like, multiple days in a row and stuff. The last time I went and did an out of town show, it was like I went down to Oklahoma, and then the way back I didn't end up eating anything all day, and then I got some gas station food on the way back and got really
Oh man.
it was like the same thing as like the out of town show that I had before that too. It was just like gas station. Yeah. I guess I just have the worst luck with like, yeah, just ending up eating a bad food when I'm doing like a road trip type thing. So
Yeah, people that know me in my personal life outside of dungeons that know that I can be pretty particular about food. And it's not because I'm a picky eater. I like everything. But I just know that as I get older, now that I've reached 300 years on this planet, uh, I know that my body cannot take certain risks that it used to be able to. And gas station food, that's if I were in a situation like you were in, I would just try to fill up on granola bars because those I feel like are safe.
that bunch of Cliff Bars would have been a much better move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question about what it was like driving on the road, the reason that the tour wasn't longer, other than I unfortunately have my uh uh not so fun duties outside of being the thread mage that require, you know, time at task to do my layperson job and pay the bills and whatnot. Um, I was doing everything by myself, and I knew that if I was in the car for longer than the 5 or 6 days that I was on the road, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to go all the way up to the Midwest, like the proper Midwest. There was somebody getting at me in the comments section when I announced the tour, like, Missouri's not the Midwest, Kansas isn't the Midwest. I'm like, dude, I can't I can't just like hit the road for 5 weeks and hit the actual Great
Dude,
Lakes
no,
and
even
Midwest
you
region.
going solo for a week is like super, it's like I can't picture myself being able to travel, 5 days by myself and like plan out, yeah, all these different shows and like having to get to certain places, on the right time and stuff. Like that's like,
Mhm.
yeah.
I, I won't do it alone again if I can help it. If I had one other person in the car with me and I could make it work logistically with my job and whatnot,
mm,
oh, I would have been on the road 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, well, maybe not the first time around because that's really ambitious for your first tour ever
yeah.
to be 3 weeks. I am the type of person that needs to warm up to something like
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, because there's just so much that could like that could go wrong, and it could be
Yeah.
like within that first couple of days of your of the tour. So, uh, yeah, man. But we kind of talked about it when you were playing in Wichita. That was like you have plans to kind of try to do more shows and stuff, right? And play, yeah, do like another tour, hopefully like next year, right?
Oh, absolutely. I have a problem, but it's a great problem to have. Now I have all these places that I have to come back to because I had such a great time. Wichita is definitely at the top of the list. I think that Wichita might have been the best non-Texas show in terms of attendance.
Oh, you're
Um,
just saying that because you
no,
talk.
no, number one, every show was equally magical, but if we're talking hard numbers, I think the biggest crowd was in Wichita.
Man, that's man, that's crazy because it's like I was, like we. the lumberyard usually gets like a good crowd and stuff, but it's like because it's not in like Wichita proper. I was like a little bit like, when we're getting closer to the date, I was just like, man, I hope like, we get like a good audience and like people come through. But yeah, no, I think that because it's in such like a weird, it's close enough to the city that people are willing to drive, and then it's like the people that are living more rural are like, well, we have to go out to those, even if I don't even know what it is because
Hmm.
there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, I bet I met a bunch of kids in the crowd that I think were more involved in the ICT hardcore scene, and they were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I live like 90 minutes outside of the city," which I can only imagine is like super remote, super
Yeah.
out of the way. And they were like, "Oh yeah, I don't mind driving up here. It's not a big deal at all." And if you're in the southern part of Wichita, that lumberyard's super easy to get to.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes or so it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't even think it took me 20 minutes to get to where I was at, or to get to the
Okay,
lumberyard from where I
yeah,
was
because
at.
you're like right off the highway, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, uh, yeah, it's really not that bad at all. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people though, it's just like they hear that it's not, they hear a different city's name and then they automatically like, oh, well, that's gonna take forever and be like this whole,
Hmm.
thing. But it's like it's not bad at all. Uh, yeah. Well, man, no, that's awesome to hear. Like, I love that. Like, and I could tell, for sure, like the dude, like the people running the lumberyard. We had a chance to talk to them a little bit afterwards, and then
Hmm.
I talked to them again the week after. We ended up doing like a last minute gig thing, and they were just like so stoked on like, the performance and stuff, and they want to see more. Yeah, I want to get more acts like that up to, up to Wichita, or like hopefully up, yeah, at the lumberyard. Yeah, it was like people were really into it. That's just like what, and it's not like I was like I had any expectations that people wouldn't be into it, but it's just like that genuine like oh yeah, this is like it's like I don't know, it was just really good. I really gave me a lot of we kind of talked about that. It's just like yeah, just a lot of like there's just so much potential for like the live performances and stuff, and yeah, it just gave me a lot of hope seeing
Yeah.
that crowd that night.
Yeah, I mean, if you give me a couple minutes to gush about Wichita specifically, and then the general vibe of the tour, I felt like I don't think there were too many people just hanging out outside during my set, which was really nice. I know tons of people will use shows as an opportunity to chop it up and catch up with
Hmm.
people that they don't get to see a whole lot during the week, and then they're not able to check out every single band because of that. So I'm really thankful that everybody took the time to check out Assorted Potions. And I agree with you. I feel like people were genuinely into it. That might have been the first ever mosh pit during a Dungeon Synth show.
That was awesome. I'm so glad I got like good video of that because that was just like, yeah, that was just absolutely magical.
Oh yeah, it was, and none of that is possible without the vulnerability and willingness and engagement of the crowd. Because otherwise, and I'm happy if this is the situation, but otherwise, it's just me, just playing music in isolation if nobody's there and if nobody cares, which I would do anyway. I mean, I love doing this, and I am very proud of the music that I make. But it I didn't want the reason that I hit the road, other than I'd always wanted to be in a touring band, or at least a weekend warrior of some type. I didn't want my take on Dungeon Synth or Comfy Synth to be as isolationist as those genres traditionally are. Normally this stuff doesn't leave the bedroom. And
Hmm.
outside of you know being the thread mage, I'm a pretty social guy, and I feel like there's an appropriate way for that to coexist in the world of Dungeon Synth and Comfy Synth, and have it contribute positively to the ecosystem. You make new friends in real life. uh Hopefully other people will want to hit the road because they'll see, hey, people do want to see this live, people do want to have a communal in-person experience with this type of music. I don't know, that's just like the high concept stuff that I've been thinking
Yeah.
of in the background while I've been doing all of this. But going back to positivity and vibes and whatnot, it, there were so many people that, and this is also going to prove my point about Dungeon Synth being a communal in-person thing. There were so many people on the tour that had no context for what Dungeon Synth is or Comfy Synth or any of that. They just happened to be hanging out with a friend that was just a local at the bar, or just, hey, I go to every single show just because that's what I do and I bring all my friends with me. They had no concept or whatever, and they just immediately understood the kind of intention that I had with what I was doing. And that made me feel really good and put a lot of fire under me to, you know, uh, visit again as soon as possible, and just, get even more into my craft and get even more excited about other people getting into their craft. And that goes with that. That's, anything musical. I'm going to get excited if I see people passionately producing stuff. But I'll tell you one funny story. I will not name the city or the person, but there was one city on the tour. This is a good story. This is a good story. There's one city on the tour where the sound person, after I got off the stage, uh, we just had like a really vulnerable moment together, and we both cried. They were like, "Thank you so much for performing. That was just really nice. You took us to a comfy place that was really um, inspiring and safe to be a part of." I'm like, not remembering their words exactly, and it made me tear up, and we hugged it
No,
out.
that's beautiful. Like, and I honestly, man, like I felt the same. Like, I'm about to get emotional. No, but
It's
like,
okay. We
man,
can
just
cry
like,
together.
yeah, no, it's just like the last couple weeks I've been, yeah, no, just like that show, just I think, really impacted me. Like, yeah, I don't know, it just, it felt like a, just like a culmination of, uh, just yeah, just all these fucking things just coming together, and then just like, yeah, and then just the music and the whole show is just so beautiful that
Hmm.
like it's just like, yeah, these last couple of weeks I just feel, because I feel like I was kind of in like a little bit of like the summer I was kind of like a little bit of a slump, just kind of like, and not for any particular reason, just kind of like just not really feeling it. Ever
Hmm.
since that show though, it's like I feel re-energized, and I just like,
Huh.
I'm just ready to do like, yeah, I don't know, I just want it like yeah, I just want there's so much shit that I like want to do now, and I feel, and it's all like all this musical stuff, that like I just feel re-inspired, reinvigorated, and it was just like I think it was just seeing that, because yeah, like all most of the people at the lumberyard are like younger than me, and like one of my things that like
Hmm.
because growing up is like I was like a little kid going to like fucking hardcore shows in Wichita, and then I would hang out with like older teenagers and stuff. And so now that I've gotten older, it's like I think of
Hmm.
the younger kids is like that's the next generation that we have to like foster to like really keep the music scene and like the DIY community and shit alive. And so like, yeah, seeing those kids be so into it, I was like, this is it, man. Like
Hmm.
this is it.
Yeah,
And
no,
like,
yeah, 100% with you. And also to see kids making amazing music. There's not a single artist that I played with on this tour in any city that wasn't incredible.
yeah, like man, that's something that always like I am just like continually like just bewildered by how talented people are. And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, and it's like people that are just making music like out of their bedrooms,
Hmm.
playing shows that like, yeah, shows that they were playing or going to or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, like they're just, and it's like that's like the most it's like the most talented people, and it's like and it's the most genuine music. It's like they're just making it just to like make music and to like play shows with
Hmm.
their friends. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and I just want there to be more of a pipeline for people to share that with each other in person between cities all over the country. And then hopefully, I'd love to play an international show, but that's like, man, so much stuff has got to happen. A lot of PTO is going to have to be asked of my boss and all the logistics. But just speaking it into existence.
It's like I don't, the internet. It's cool because it's like made things like it's everything's like so much more like accessible, and it's like easier to like connect and network with people and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like there's like a I feel like with like the live scenes, it's like it's not as like I don't know, like there's more work that needs to be done to maintain that like pre-internet like music experience, you know?
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of something happened like kind of how like a thought that it came to me the other day, and it's just like it's like yeah, like the internet's done a lot of great things, but then it's also like we have to maintain that like pre-internet like because it's like technology just takes so much intimacy and shit away from like you know yeah
It also changes how people consume music, especially underground music, in a way different way. I saw Scowl and Military Gun last Saturday in Austin, and it was a really good show. But if that show and those bands had played maybe like 10 years ago in the pre TikTokification of um, hardcore, I guess in this case, um, I could tell that a lot of the crowd was not like hardcore kids. It was just people that happened to come across these bands, and they're great bands. Especially, I love Military Gun. If you haven't listened to them, they're amazing. It's like if Third Eye Blind was done by hardcore kids. It's
I'm gonna
so
have to
good.
check them out. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
it's
familiar.
yeah. It's the guy used to be in this band called Regional Justice Center. They're like a power violence kind of fastcore band, but I'm getting off on a tangent. But I could
No,
tell
you're
that
totally good.
there were people that were like they were wearing hardcore band shirts and they were definitely in the scene, uh you know repping Austin hardcore, Central Texas hardcore, but uh tons of people just wearing like uh either citizen or layperson clothing, and tons of people, for lack of a better term, dressed like e-boys and e-girls, not necessarily wearing like hardcore stuff or
Yeah.
subculture signifying garb. And I'm not like old man shaking his fist at a cloud. It's just things are just different now, and it's interesting to see.
It's like kind of like a man. I almost feel like there's like a lack of kind of like a lack of subculture these days, because it's like everything's just almost like a mishmash of things. Either that, or it's just like subcultures have become so like niche and like they're like like micro subcultures that I'm just an old man and I just don't understand them anymore.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
Dungeon Synth has not. I have not seen it. I do unfortunately spend a lot of time on TikTok. I have not seen a single Dungeon Synth related post, and I know that my phone is listening because I've gotten recommended tons of other extremely thread mage related stuff. So Dungeon Synth, I feel like, is the last frontier that I'm aware of micro genre not being affected by the algorithm yet. Although there's YouTube algorithm, that's a different story. But
Hmm.
I feel like YouTube algorithm and TikTok algorithm have different material effects on at least how young people interact with
Yeah.
new music. So that's just something that I've noticed.
See, I'm like not on TikTok at all. So it's like I've
Don't
seen
get on
like
it.
like I've seen the shorts and stuff, but it's like I feel like there's just like this whole fucking like thing that's been going on since TikTok has been just like all these like memes and celebrities and stuff that are like instantly going viral. But it's like because I'm not on, I don't understand. Like I know that they're short videos, but I don't understand how the virality works. Like because it's just like I don't know. It's like the cultural zeitgeist right now for like this. I don't know whatever generation is after mine.
Yeah. No, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. We're about the same age. Well, in wizard years,
Yeah,
I'm 300, but in human years, I'm around the
pretty
same
close.
age as
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to me either. I just like consuming it as an extremely passive observer. And I do think it's important to understand as best you can what young people are going through and witnessing and whatnot. I, you can't put your head in the sand about
Yeah.
what youth culture is doing because it's going to dictate the future. So it's just something that I'm trying to pay attention to.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why I have to like, I tried to go without social media, like at all for the longest, but then I'm like, okay, I kind of have to like be like a little bit tapped in because I don't want to become like that angry old man that is like perpetually, living in like 2014 because that was my prime.
And it's going to happen event. There's going to become a time where the world just evolves so fast that you can't keep up. It's just
Yeah,
going to happen. But if you can prolong that expiration date, so to speak, that's what I'm trying to do.
yeah. Hey, and that is like one of the plus sides of like the internet, is like I feel like a thought that I've had before is like you how like I just like I don't know how someone like in our generation, right, that's like our age right now, when we're like old, it's like are old people gonna be like how I perceive old people now, where it's like out of
Hmm.
touch, like shaking their fist, angry at the world, or is it like because we kind of grew up like in this like new technological internet age, like are we like yeah, are we gonna be like bitter, angry old people that are like still kind of like I don't know, or are we, or will people grow more with the times now because of the technology? These are just weird shower thoughts that I've had.
And anything can happen. I tend to lean on will be crotchety, similarly to how we see older people of today.
I kind of hope
But
that that's how I end up. Like I'm already kind of going in that direction, and like I'm not even mad about it. Like man, people deal with so much bullshit. It's like if you can make it to the right age of like 50, 60, it's like you got all the right to be, pissed off and mad at the world.
well, I don't want to be angry. I hopefully, uh, a future will be a future that does not fill me with constant rage. But you know, what can you do?
That is the hope.
Yeah, I'll check back in with me when I'm 600.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a part two to what I was gonna say about the positive reaction that I got on tour. For
Yeah.
all the people that had no exposure to Dungeon Synth, there would be two or three people at every show who didn't know me previous. They didn't even reach out to me on Instagram or whatever. They just saw Dungeon Synth live in their town, and they were like, "Yes, I've been waiting for this to happen." I remember Pile of Dead Horses said that to me specifically about when we played the Kansas City show together. There were a couple people in Oklahoma City that said the same thing. And these are just people off the top of my head. Um, and there's one gentleman in Wichita, can't remember his name. He was moshing though. He was one of the moshers. He said
I,
the same thing.
I think I know who you're talking about. I just can't recall it. I just can't
Yeah,
remember his name either. But yeah. Um man, yeah, but that's like so cool though that like yeah, just like yeah, getting the like the chance to have like just like this weird little like because it's like such a like small microcosm, like that like yeah, the chance to see it live, it just seems like such like a weird. I mean, I never thought I'd get to see it live, like
hmm.
this was like yeah, pretty big thing, like yeah, I don't know. It's I just really hope that it like it continues to grow, and I think it will, for sure. I
I,
think like more people are um
I will just say I don't know how much I can say, but we down here in Texas are making sure that it's going to grow. There's material things coming that are going to facilitate more live manifestations, uh, more in person, in real time connectivity, person to person. Just stay tuned.
hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I I know there's like a few guys down there that that are doing similar things. So like I'm sure you guys are cooking up something.
Yeah, and we're trying to cook up enough for everybody to get a bowl, and we're not afraid to share the recipe.
There's enough for second servings.
Yeah, come on. Please, sir, you can have some more. You can have some more.
I love it. Yo, and then I saw because you played in Wichita, and one of the bands that played was the Disaster Artist from like Philly,
Yes.
and then they
Oh,
played they played like the following day with you. Like it wasn't the same show as you, but it was like a neighboring gig, right? How did that
I'll
go?
I'll give you the lore. I'll give you the lore. So, uh, you're not gonna get the Reader's Digest version. I'm gonna get very granular with the details because it's funny. We played the show. I bond with these two twins because it turns out they're big fans of emo music as well. Um, and we just found a lot of commonality with that. I also used to live in New Jersey when I was a younger wizard, just for a little bit, and they didn't grow up super close to where I was living, but they were very familiar. And I was familiar with where they grew up. So, you have that connectivity there. Um, when they booked their tour, they coincidentally booked their Kansas City day on the same date that my Kansas City date was, and it's on the same block. So I played at Farewell, which is the 21 plus with Legal Guardian venue, and then they played Howdy, which is the all ages venue, and it's owned by the same people, uh, two doors down from each other. But yeah, that was a total trip. I hung out with them at a record store in Kansas City that was really cool. And my friend who flew down from Chicago to come see the show, he's a huge fan of The Room. He's the one that got me into the movie The Room. And I told him, hey, there's these two kids that we're gonna meet up with at this record store, and I'm not gonna tell you their band name. I'm gonna have them tell you. And then when they told him that they were named after the Disaster
Yeah,
Artist, he just couldn't believe it. He was beside himself. And then they played a fantastic show in Wichita, which you and I both saw. They
yeah.
smashed it in Kansas City and won a bunch of new fans, which I was really happy about.
Did you have a chance to like? Were you able to like play and then be able to go next door and like catch them play, or
I, I saw them play a couple songs and then I had to go get set up.
nah?
So we
Man,
overlapped by like a couple minutes, but not too bad.
yeah, man, that's cool. That I like. Yeah, when you guys were like talking in the at the Wichita show, I was there, whatever. I was like, man, that's gonna be crazy as fuck if they like. And I'm getting to meet up with each other like the next day. I'm glad you guys like. Yeah, no, that's like super cool. Like, and then yeah, and then you played with Pile of Dead Horses, which is like one of the
Oh,
kind of one of my homies from Kansas City that does like noise stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was cool because it's just like just small world things, like just like
yeah.
I don't know.
Pile of Dead Horses was great. He got into a fight with his gear, which was really funny. His gear was working. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
Everything was working, but he just started punching his noise boxes. And I was very impressed by that.
When I had met him, I met him for the first time when we played together in Omaha. And he was like, I can't remember exactly. He told me some story about like it was like some crazy thing where it involved him. He went to the punch. I haven't had a chance to like. Well, I saw him play like part of a set, but he didn't get like super crazy with it. But he did. Well, he was playing in like a. It was inside of a shipping container though, so that was pretty cool because it was just like, it's like he's like playing a one end of it, and it's like yeah, like a really long shipping container, and then for whatever reason, like I don't think there was any rule that people weren't allowed to go in there and watch, but like everybody just stood outside of it. So it's like you're like looking down a hallway, peering into this long highway, a hallway. You got Tim just playing, and it's like yeah, just the craziest thing. Uh, but yeah, it's like yeah, it's just like it's so cool like seeing I don't know, I always just like getting to meet people like playing, either like playing shows with people or like yeah, I don't know, it's just weird. Like I'll play a show with someone who then or like yeah, be on a gig with a band and then it's like I start talking to them and then they end up, knowing some other people because they're from whatever town and then it's like, oh well,
Hmm.
this guy and it's like yeah, it's crazy because then it's like that you remember that I think it was 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, yes. Everybody's got 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon from each other.
But yeah, it's always just kind of like crazy to me. Like that's kind of I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of like getting to play shows with like people from out of town because then it's like, oh well, you're from Dallas. Well, do you know this guy or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
And then it's just like, and then yeah, you just start figuring out these weird puzzle pieces connecting everybody.
Yeah, no,
um,
there's a really funny puzzle piece with the Texas dungeon synth scene. So Mort White, without giving away too many details, um, Mort White's Mort White has a family member that lived with one of my cousins. I'll just yeah, I'm long story short, and we found that out when we first played with each other. I think last March is when we first met. We had a show in Austin that was really good.
Man, that's you're just like talking to him, and then it's like you just kind of like figure out like yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I love like finding like weird funky coincidences like that though. It just like I don't know. It always just kind of like mind freaks me a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I met another guy last night at the this bakery that I go to all the time. We were just chopping it up, and he turns out he originally grew up in North Texas too, and we know a bunch of the same people. It's, I don't know, stuff like that. I like it. I always like finding
yeah,
those pieces.
yeah, it's cool, and it's like a good. I don't know. It's like a good way to just kind of like get talking with someone. 'Cause I hate small talk with people.
Oh,
Like
can't stand it.
yeah, like I like talking to people. I don't, I like talking to strangers, but I don't like the small talk. Like, I don't want to hear about where you work or how you're feeling about the weather. Like, I want to get into some like, oh, I just met you. Let's talk about the meaning of life.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
kind of,
want to.
like, or just
Yeah,
having this,
I want to talk about what's your take on purpose? What are your
yeah,
favorite blast beats? It's
yeah,
this
like,
is the fine, this is highfalutin thinking that I want to get into sooner
yeah,
than later.
like just because I just met you, it's like I need to know all your hobbies, and then I need to know like
hmm
what inspires you. Like,
that, I was so thankful that you took me on the deep cut drive around Wichita because that's the
oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff that I live for. I love down to the street corners. I want to know like every all the minutia of somebody's story that they
yeah,
want to divulge. Obviously, like I don't want you know
yeah.
that they feel comfortable sharing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we left off. We were talking about the yeah, you were talking about like yeah, I took you around, showed you Wichita and stuff. Yeah, man, that was like it was cool because it kind of like made me you put me in a spot to like kind of rethink about my own city as like almost like an outsider, which was like super
hmm
interesting. Like yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, it made me kind of like almost kind of made me more appreciative because it's just kind of like I'm just like man, this is kind of interesting. It's like I didn't really think about like all the different like the different neighborhoods and getting stuff. And I guess it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like definitely made me think about yeah, my own city in a different way. And now I'm kind of like I know whenever I'm go out of town, I'm gonna be kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be kind of like looking at things differently. Um yeah, that was like I don't know. That was a lot of fun, like going around and stuff, and like going to the fucking pizza museum, like because that was like something I'd never been to either.
That that has I think out of all of the excursions that I went on that weren't food related, well, Pizza Hut was food related, but it wasn't like an actual meal. Pizza Hut Museum was amazing. That was anybody watching this, the Pizza Hut Museum is only about a room large, but it's a rotating curated exhibition and or exhibit, and it is absolutely worth a trip. It
And
is
it's free.
incredible. It's yep.
Just
It's
walk like
it
I can't.
costs
That just
zero
like caught me.
dollars.
Yeah, I can't believe you walk in. I've been in Wichita like almost my entire life, and I even went to WSU for a few years. I walked by the Pizza Hut Museum like every day. I didn't even realize that it was like that it was an open museum, and like yeah, but it was like really cool. It was just like yeah, it looked like a little pizza Hut on the inside. Just like
Yeah, it looked like one of the to go only Pizza Huts.
yeah, like yeah, it was just like all the rotating stuff was like I don't know. I thought that was like really interesting that they have even had like the stuff in there already, and then like the fact that they have more stuff that they could bring in. Like, yeah, very cool. I would, and then I think White Castle started here too, but we don't have a White
Yes.
Castle, and I think that was like something you had brought up. But yeah, very really weird. We have a lot of yeah, a lot of restaurants like start up here. I think it seems like I think there's some other ones that I don't know, I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah.
You told me about the one that's owned by that kind of shady family.
I don't know if we can get into that on here. Yeah, I guess that's all like, yeah, yeah,
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. I don't want them to, yeah, they'll like see this one, like try to like sue me for like, I don't know, they probably have the money for it. But yeah, there's like a really, really terrible restaurant. Like, it's not I guess I don't know if it's a chain or it's not a franchise. Yeah, a chain. It's all owned by one family, and that's like, they just has their hands in a lot of businesses in town, and they're all just yeah, I don't want to say anything on
Yeah.
speak on them specifically, but there are a lot of like rumors, and they have a lot of businesses that go up in flames
Oh man,
intentionally.
that's funny.
Man, yeah, that's man, yeah, they have one. There's like now I'm just like thinking about it. Like there's one place out on the west side of town. It's like a steakhouse, and it's been set on fire like 4 times.
Oh,
Not
dude, I
like set on fire, but it's like it's caught fire like 4 or 5 times, and it's like you know makes you wonder a little bit what they're doing.
I've been watching some clips from The Sopranos recently. It's a show that I love, and yeah, that just hearing stuff like that for absolutely no reason, for the record, reminds me of.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They're on some shady stuff, man. I could feel like there's like some. I'm just thinking about like some other just sketchy places in town that I've heard of that I should have. I'll have to show you around next time. So,
Ooh,
illegal
you should
pool
you
halls and
you should tell everybody about the Gate, which is an awesome place, not sketchy, and one
yeah,
of the coolest record stores I've been to.
yeah, yeah. Anybody that ever comes to Wichita has got to stop into the Gate. I'm glad that we got to get you in there to check it out because that's like yeah. If you come to Wichita, that's like the one spot that like you have to like local business that you have to go and check out because it's just like a tiny little like 400 square foot size, like maybe a little bit bigger than that, but it's like super small, but then just like packed to the brim with just like
Hmm.
metal, you know, they have LPs, tapes, fucking, I mean, they had porno mags, books, VHS tapes. Dude, Russ has everything in there. It's like such a
Yeah.
good spot. I'm so thankful to like have that in town. And it's like, yeah, it's such like a niche thing that like I'm really
Hmm.
glad that it's like able to be it's like still in business and like there's like a whole like yeah people go in there just to hang out which I think is like super dope like it's very much like a local business that has become kind of like a pillar in the community for like just like the metal scene which is very cool to see.
Hmm. And I love that there's always Manila Road shirts on deck that you can
Got
buy.
to,
It's
yeah.
yeah.
Well, uh there's a screen printing shop in town. The I can't remember if him and Russ are just like if they're just friends or if they're like related somehow. But a lot of the Manila Road stuff is screen printed by this dude, Phil. And then he used to play bass with Manila Road on their
Mm,
newest like when they were touring around in the early to mid 2000s and stuff. So it's always cool running into him too, because it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like that guy's just worked with like a ton of like really interesting bands and stuff too, and like, yeah, he's played the Manila Road. It's like, whoa,
yeah. Legendary.
that's a that's a band too that I didn't. I think I had told you that like, my friend or
Y-
whatever that
Yeah. Yeah.
was like related to the one of the members, and I was like, man, whatever your dad's not in a heavy metal band.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, like yeah, it's man, yeah, like just talking to you just made me realize like how interesting Wichita is, I guess. So I gotta thank
It's
you for that, man. Like,
dude,
yeah,
and
made
like
me appreciate my little town.
for a city that's in the middle of nowhere, you guys have amazing food. Medis is so tasty.
I got that for lunch today.
Man.
I haven't gone since you and me got it together, and I had told I told my girlfriend that we had to get the potatoes, and I was like we need to go back in there. We got to get those potatoes.
Were they just as good?
They were just as good.
So good.
Man, yeah, yeah. That's a good local spot too. That's like, but I think they're starting to expand. I think they might be going out to like Lawrence and Kansas City and shit now too.
Oh, that
'Cause
would kill in Lawrence. Like with the
yeah,
college students. Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
idea.
I think it might be already. I'm gonna have to look it up real quick because I'm just kind of curious. Because yeah, I think that Freddy's restaurant that we have too is like now like going like out of state now too. I think
Mhm.
they and then he's just in Wichita, but I might be just like maybe like I just like heard like a rumor or something that they were gonna like expand it out of yeah, out of Wichita. I'm sure eventually that dude's opened so many locations and stuff that like, you
Mhm.
know, he's gotta be planning world domination with his Mediterranean food.
There is a chicken shawarma place that I go to very regularly down here that I love. So I think I would continue to get my chicken shawarma at that place, but I'll definitely be getting my potatoes at Meddy's if they ever come to
Potatoes.
Austin.
The potatoes is what really makes it, man.
Yeah. I want to shout out another amazing food city on the tour. So obviously Kansas City has the barbecue. It was really good. Tulsa, Oklahoma had amazing food. I had ramen for lunch that was totally bomb diggity. And dinner, the taco truck that's next to the Whittier bar, I don't remember what it's called. It's in the back, it's near the back patio of the Whittier bar. I had tamales there that were so good. And I struggle to find, ironically, I struggle to find Mexican food that I like down here. So the fact that I was able to eat some good stuff on the road, that made me super happy.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got some like I think you even got some when you played in Wichita too, right? Where you got like some tacos for you.
That place was just okay. I don't want to say the name, but it was just all right.
Yeah. No, I just think it's funny though that it's like because it's like Austin or just like Texas, people probably think that like the Mexican food is like really good. And then you're like, it's your first tour, it's like you're getting Mexican food everywhere. It's that bad in Austin.
Yeah, I there is so obviously there's great Mexican food everywhere in Texas. It's just Austin for whatever reason. I struggle to find places that I think are good. There are good places, but they're kind of few and far between.
Yeah. Is that like is that your favorite kind of food? Like is that where you would like put your yeah, if you had to like pick like a favorite type, I guess of like country of origin.
No, honestly, although I will say, I visited some friends in LA and had Oaxacan style Mexican food earlier this year, and that was like transformative. That was amazing. It was just like flattened kind of flank steak cook style chicken with nopales, which is cactus, and like the kind of queso fresco. I don't remember what it's called. So it's a pretty simple dish, but like flavor wise, all over the place in a way that I like. Well, it wasn't all over the place. It reached all sorts of heights in my palate that I didn't think could be reached. To answer your question though, I am really partial to East, West African, and Caribbean. That's the stuff that I go gaga for, and Japanese too. I don't eat it all the time because variety is the spice of life,
Mhm.
and I like to switch it up. And I don't know how to cook most of it. I can cook a pretty good curry chicken, but I can't cook any Ethiopian dishes. I don't know how to make the injera, the bread that they use. I don't know how to make fufu or any of that stuff, but I think it's delicious. Um, and obviously, like Japanese food, I don't need to sell anybody on Japanese food. Everybody already likes it.
Can't
But
go
yeah,
wrong with like some sushi, you know?
no, dude, sushi or like street food, like okonomiyaki, takoyaki. This is the ambrosia of the gods. It's delicious.
So that's why I had to ask you like what I had to start asking you, like what your favorite food is because then you're like a food guy. So like I was like, all right, I gotta like figure
Yeah.
out like what if you had to pick one.
Yeah,
Well,
that's too hard.
yeah.
Here's how I will answer the question. Let's say I have a friend visiting me from out of town, and I live in a fantasy land where there's apex peak food from every part of the world. We're gonna go everywhere, right? We're gonna. But where do I take them first? And I'm also gonna tweak the scenario a little bit more. They're an adventurous eater, but an inexperienced eater. So they haven't, everything is totally new to them, right? They're a blank slate. I would probably take them to an Ethiopian restaurant first or a like Jamaican specifically style restaurant. then quickly followed by Southeast Asian. I know I told you how much I love like Lao style and Thai style papaya salad or like
Yeah.
Hmong papaya salad. I go bonkerino for that stuff. Um, so yeah, that's in that order, and then everything else would just fall into place naturally. We'll eventually go to the Italian spot. We'll go to the Japanese spot. We'll get K barbecue. We'll get Peking duck. We'll get all that stuff.
Man, see, I like, I wish I could be like a foodie, but I'm like, I like never grew. I'm like a fucking like a kid trapped in a man's body. I'm like a picky eater, you know. So it's like,
You earth those potatoes though. You haven't
yeah,
developed enough palate to know that those
yeah,
potatoes are awesome.
yeah. No, my girlfriend's like kind of, you know, she like pushes me to like try, you know, get out of my comfort zone and like try more stuff. So I'm definitely like,
Mm,
I've come a long way since I was like, you know, like, yeah, when I was like 18, 19. But like,
hmm
there's just still like, there's so much stuff where it's like, I have no desire to eat it because it's like I just look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think I can get that down. But then at the same time, it's like I'm like, why can't I just be like, why can't I just enjoy things?
I don't know, man. Maybe just heavy
Yeah,
exposure.
I
Yeah.
just have to like force myself to do it. But yeah, I'm not very adventurous when it comes to eating, but I like, yeah, I don't know. I try to though, or like at least try to like find things that I can eat, you know. So,
hmm
but yeah, like I don't think I've ever had like Ethiopian or like any. I don't know that I've ever had like. I don't know if we have any like African restaurants. I think I've been to like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what the closest like thing would be, because that sounds really
So,
interesting.
so Dallas has a pretty big Nigerian population, and I grew up near the city and the suburbs where there's still like, a good amount of people whose family was from West Africa. So there's a good amount of Nigerian spots, and it's great. It's really particular flavors though, and even if I had like a whole bunch of West African spots around me, it's not something that I could eat all the time because I don't it's really heavy, and the I don't know how to describe any of the flavors. Like I don't have any adjectives for it,
Yeah,
but it's delicious, super filling, super filling, which I love. I don't like eating something and then still being hungry afterwards. No,
yeah,
I want to take a nap. um, Senegalese specifically might be of the little bit that I've sampled, that might be my favorite of the that part of the world whose cuisines I've tried. Their national dish is this thing called thebujun. I'm not pronouncing it right, but it's like a French Wolof word. Um, and it's got, I think, boiled yams, fish. I think it's got like a tomato style rice, like jollof rice. Different places do it a little bit differently, but if you look at a picture of it, you're like, oh, this is an extremely hearty meal with a whole bunch of colors and food groups cooked with a lot of love. What's not to like? What's stopping you from wanting to just, you know, slam your face into it and devour voraciously?
yeah. I need to. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna need to like definitely need to like expand my
It,
horizons a little bit
it,
because I'm like, there's
it
probably
might
like flavors that I've never, that my tongue has never even gotten to appreciate. Like,
this isn't stuff that I like grew up eating, right? This is
mhm.
all stuff that I got into in adulthood. Because when I up until I was like 12, I was a super picky eater. I didn't even like burgers. It was just
Oh shit.
yeah, it was gyoza, spaghetti, and tortellini. That's about it. I like vegetables. I was pretty good about vegetables. But proteins and all that, and like cooking techniques, nah, none of that. I was having none of that. Um, but I don't know, something happened. I turned 11 or 12, and I was like, I'm gonna try a burger. And then I just kept trying stuff, and it just kept going on from there.
Yeah.
And then once I left Texas, the reason I love Ethiopian food so much is I lived in DC for a little bit, which has the biggest Ethiopian population per capita, I think, in the United States. So there's tons of spots that are super good. And I was really lucky that I got to try some of them.
We have like I think like the probably like the most like exotic place I can think of like food in town that we have of like is like I know there's a Peruvian spot which I think is
Oh,
kind of like which I haven't had a chance to try yet. But yeah, it's like that was the one that I saw where I'm just like, because it's like yeah, like most Asian foods, it's like you can find that in most cities, and like yeah, but yeah, like yeah, South America. I was like, whoa, that's kind of interesting because I don't even think we really. I'm not aware of any like large Peruvian population here to make that like a thing. I think it's just someone just did it. Just kind of cool. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Not next time I'm in Dallas. I'm gonna go try some Ethiopians. That sounds fucking cool too. Like,
yeah, there's some good Ethiopian spots in Dallas. I can't think of any right now, but the Nigerian spot that I like a lot, I'm gonna look it up now because I just want to shout them out.
oh yeah,
Nigerian
man, plug it
restaurant,
up.
Dallas. I don't know anybody that works there or anything. Shuri. It's near Richland College in Northeast Dallas. Shuri. And it's really good. I don't know. I just think it's really tasty. Also, if somebody's watching this and they're like, nah, that place isn't good, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I would never consider myself an expert on any of this food. I'm just a fan. So if you know a place that you like better, would love it if you put me onto it, especially if you know any good African joints in Austin, because there's some Ethiopian joints that are pretty good down here. But if you know of any other spots that are good, would love to be put on.
I hope like people will watch this and we'll just we'll just get hit with like a bunch of restaurant recommendations, and then when you tour again, it's like you'll just be like, oh, well now I know of this spot over here.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I did a lot of research. Not as much as I wanted to, but I did a good amount of research about food spots before I hit the road. And I did so OKC was another really good food city. I did a lot of polling the crowd or people that I knew, friends of friends, people that had been on tour there before, like, what do I need to eat? What do I need to eat? And there were some really cool options.
Yeah, man, you gotta yeah, because I mean like if you're only it's like a kind of like a big thing. It's like earlier when we were talking, it's like if you're you have the chance to like go out of your town or something, it's like you should gotta be living it up, eating good, not like
Hmm.
me eating fucking gas station. Gas station food is gonna fuck you up.
Man, I'm glad that you lived to tell the tale. I'll just say that much.
I'm just like I'm always working on like time constraints, so it's like yeah, I end up having to get stuck with like gas stations. Something I gotta work on future future excursions. Yeah. Um. But yeah, man. Do you have any? So like, because you released uh Assorted Potions 3 is like your most recent release, and I was going through like yeah, so I was going through kind of like listening through to your discography like earlier this morning, just to kind of yeah before the interview just to kind of get like
Oh yeah,
and,
we haven't talked about my music like this whole time. I just realized that.
that's why I kind of was just like, 'cause, yeah, no, I don't mind having like, not, yeah, I don't mind having the whole thing just be about food. Like that's fine,
Mhm.
that's cool because it's like that's why I wanted it to be like free flowing,
Yeah.
so that it's just can like random shit can just come up, and it can be like an hour of us just talking about restaurants and plugging different things.
Oh,
You
dude,
know?
yeah, I love that. You know me, I'm
Yeah,
all about locales and the minutia of somebody's day to day and where they grew up and all that. So yeah, I've been
yeah,
having a blast, a total blast always.
yeah. Because yeah, I just like I want it. It's like an interview, but I don't want to be like just slapping you with a bunch of questions. I want to just like we're just
Yeah,
getting on and we're talking, and then in that talk, you can pick up little bits of information.
yeah,
But yeah, I guess we should probably talk a little bit about music.
yeah. I love to talk about my music too. So yeah, fire away.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I was listening to just like listen through the three albums that you have are like Assorted Potions 1, 2, and 3. And then I want like yeah, one of my questions I wanted to ask was like I know there's like a little bit of like a character and like a story, right, that goes alongside like each album, right?
Mhm.
And then it's like each album is like kind of telling this like continuous story, right?
A little bit. It's not like the reason that it's called Assorted Potions 1, 2, and 3 is just to have some sort of thematic consistency. But it's not like the story that started in AP1 is related to the one in AP2 or 3. And they're not really linear stories. Basically, especially with AP1, AP1 was a linear story. It was supposed to just follow the arc of a typical hero's journey. So it starts out with, I think, Secret Passageway. Uh, I'm gonna have to look up my own releases right now. I'm doing it in my personal library. So Secret Passageway is the first song that I ever wrote. So I just thought that it would be fitting if it was uh, the first in the release. And then A New Shrine is supposed to be like a save point, kind of like from Dark Souls or uh, Breath of the Wild. Then Lost Soul Returns is supposed to be like an emotional moment that happens before the big fight in the hero's journey. That's why it's in kind of like a melancholic, wistful key. The key of D to me is melancholic and wistful. And then In Which You Fight Your Brother, the Evil Wizard King, which is to this day probably my favorite song that I've ever done. That is supposed to be the big climactic piece. Um, it's the Mad City, if you will. It's supposed to be the most emotionally intense song, and then things close with the denouement, falling action, the hero prevails, end scene. But with AP2 and AP3, there is the ordering was intentional, but there's not necessarily as uh, strongly defined a story that you're supposed to be following.
Mhm.
But I do kind of guide you along where your brain should be at in a typical plot arc with the titles. So Onward, that could be like the opening credits where somebody's marching into battle. Then Second Wind in Dire Circumstances is a near-death experience that they fight their way out of, guided by a friendly winged beast. They're escaping battle on a non-human ally's back in a Tolkien sense. Wood Nymphs with Arrows for You. I mistakenly described the song as a love song in a few live shows. This is not a love song. It's supposed to be like a tender, uh, like oh man, what's the fairy's name in Zelda? Oh, in Ocarina
Uh,
of Time. I can't remember the fairy's name.
Man, put me on the spot. I'm gonna look it up real
It,
quick.
so that sort of companion character, their essence, that was the inspiration for that song. And then downhill from here back to Our Meadow, same thing. That's the falling action. And then Sword of Potions 3, same thing. The Wistful Wizard is, which is the closing track. That's supposed to be, I guess, the Thread Mage reflecting on, the actions of the first four songs or just everything that's happened in his life.
Now, that's something like that I really probably one of my like yeah one of my favorite things in like dungeon and company stuff is like the track titles because I
Oh
feel like the
yeah.
track titles is just like really is what makes it so like it just evokes that like feeling. It's like
Hmm.
the music already kind of already speaks for itself, but it's like you throw in that track title and like a lot of people they write these kind of like elaborate track titles, which in and of itself the track title is like its own story that you can like kind of kind of make your own conclusions from and draw your own meaning from, and then you listen to the music and it's like the music adds to it and it's like each song becomes its own little like self-contained like almost like a chapter in a book, or I guess yeah, or
Yep.
like a scene in a movie or something, and it's just like
Exactly. I wanted it to be cinematic, but as you could tell with the way I'm describing these tracks, the story isn't even that defined for myself. I wanted it to
hmm,
be just like a general idea, a general arc, but the details in between, you could fill in how you see fit.
hmm. Yeah, because that was something like I don't know, I just like I don't know why I hadn't like picked up on that before, so I was like, oh, I wonder if there's like a yeah, like if you had like a specific story in mind, or if it was more just like a yeah, just like the concept of like the way that the songs were structured.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a story archetype. That's what I'm following.
yeah,
So yeah, it's there's a lot of room for loosey goosiness in there.
yeah. So, dude, like like when I first found your music, one of the things that like immediately stuck out to me, other than like the fantastic name, of course, because Assorted Potions is just like, but yeah, let me just say real quick, like that's like just like a fantastic name. Like I love the artist name. But the thing that really stuck out to me is the pop covers. You know,
Oh yeah.
the first one that you had is that the Vanessa Carlton cover, and that just like yeah, I mean that's a great fucking song, and like yeah, I loved seeing that, and like the other yeah, like the other ones that you did like live was just so I don't know, and like getting the audience to like sing along and stuff was just so yeah, that was great. I'm always just like really excited to like see someone that's like in the scene, I guess. It's like a little bit like I guess it's not that big of a surprise, but it's just kind of cool like seeing someone that's like into pop music, because that's one of
Mhm.
the things that you and me kind of like hit it off with. I think is just like you know being into like yeah, just like more poppy singer songwriters.
Yeah. Before I forget, you need to listen to the new Tizo Touchdown album because I know that it's not quite hyper. It's not hyper pop at all, but he has the same kind of ambition, and I think he pulls it off. It's really good.
All right, I got it. I just
I
pulled it
think
up
it's
on
called "If Only You Were Lonely" or something.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause I've seen
but
that dude.
so there's a couple things.
Sorry, what?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just
Go
gonna say
ahead.
like I've seen that dude like seen interviews and stuff pop up with him. He's got like the nail dreads. It looks
Yeah, yeah,
crazy.
no, yeah, he looks um, like a Final Fantasy special summon.
Yeah, I'm gonna yeah okay yeah I'm gonna check this out.
And
Um,
that's actually so you can thank Final Fantasy 12 for the name Assorted Potions because there's a bizarre item. I was playing Final Fantasy 12 a couple months before I started this project, and there's a bizarre item called Assorted Arrows, and I just thought that potions sounded better because it also I thought would give me the leeway to if I wanted to be like there's a little bit of cohesion in my projects now, but if I wanted to be just like this is an album, but I did not try at all to make it cohesive or thematically flow, then I gave myself the out to do it. Assorted
hmm.
Potions. Um, but with the pop music thing, dude, I'm just a freak for music. I can't. I'm stealing that verbiage from Brandon from Taste of Beer. Shout out to him. He runs a great label. Um, and he put out the not tasted beer put out my split with Deep Gnome, I think, and then
Yeah,
his other we Witch Like
uh,
Dungeons, I
yeah.
think, put out the first Assorted Potions.
I think that was how
So
I came across you actually. That's how I found out. I because I found that label, and then I think it was yeah. I think that's how I found out about you, and then that's I think I don't know if that was how I found out about Deep Gnome, but I think it was like right around, when he did the release of Deep Gnome is when I was just like, yeah, when I was just kind of, yeah, finding out about all your guys' music, like, so yeah, man, shouts out Brandon, man, he's a cool dude, and like,
yeah,
he's put out a ton of cool, like, really cool shit, like,
yeah,
yeah,
and he told me he used the words when we were talking a long time ago. I'm a freak for music, and I was dude, and that's how I knew him and I were going to get along. Well, I just want something that's going to excite me, touch my heart, open my brain onto something. Obviously, as a nerd and as somebody who sometimes tries to just understand things in a categorical way, which you don't want to do that all the time. But I am a dude that does appreciate like knowing about the different characteristics of different genres and whatnot. But in terms of enjoyment and patronizing music, I'm completely open to everything. I can't get enough of it.
hell
And
yeah,
pop music is the first stuff that you hear, other than like Rafi or children's music.
yeah,
So I I've always been into it. To different degrees have I been into it, yes. But at this stage in my life, I can't get enough of a good, well-written pop tune that also has heart, which that song does. It's very wistful, but beautifully written. I'm talking about the Vanessa Carlton song. And the older I get, the more I appreciated it. And I thought that it would sound really good on a harp, so I turned it into a or a comfy synth song.
No, yeah, I love it. And it's like yeah, I'm like a big pop head, you know. I like queuing up like you know, I like having a Lady Gaga song queued up with like, you know, and then right afterwards having like a summoning song or something. Like I feel
Oh
like it's just
yeah,
like, you know, it's
yeah,
just
me too,
like
dude. I've been
yeah,
listening to the I've been listening to the new Olivia Rodrigo album
I need
quite
to
a
check
bit.
that out. I thought she's coming to uh well, there are like a couple of cities nearby, and then she's playing with Pink Pantheress next year. So
Oh, dude,
I might have to try to go out to that.
I love Pink Panther as she's so good.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, dude, we can like let me look. Let me. I wish that I could go off the dome, but I'll just tell you the stuff that I've been listening to. Uh, I'm always listening to pop punk, so like Saves the Day, Newfound Glory. That's usually like my driving music. Tizo Touchdown. I know I shouted that out. Prefab Sprout. Like this, you know, come on. Amy Winehouse. The new Blood Incantation. Like I'm
I
all
need to
over
check
the
that album
board.
out still. I fucking love Blood Incantation. I didn't even know they had like a new release coming out. So yeah,
I
I need
think
to
it's
check
just
that out.
two it's just two teaser tracks, but they're both really good. Um man, Beharit, the new Mick Jenkins is really good. The new Dying Fetus is good. I'm always listening to City Pop. I'm always buying City Pop records. Like, come on, I go all over the place. And that's just like a small smattering of the stuff that, you know, touches my heart and that I can't stop singing the praises of. I could go
Yeah.
all day. And just that zest for music, uh I don't ever want to be bashful about it. And
Yeah.
I want it to be a part of my artistic process and, you know, my personal history um as a fan and I guess as Assorted Potions. So that's one of the many reasons that I did that cover. And it's just a great song. And I know I'm not naive. I know that there's like novelty to covering a song like that and it is like kind of funny, but at the end of the day, I just, you know, people realize that it's a great song, and I'm very the reactions that I've gotten to that cover have made me really happy and are really humbling.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fantastic song. You can't go wrong with like that song is just so like yeah, I don't know, that's just a very uplifting song. And man, I've been meaning to ask you like that. So you did a song that I believe was like did you do a Michelle Branch cover when you played? That's like, but it's not
I
released, right?
I did. Yep, it's not released yet. I'll release it when
Okay.
I feel like it. I haven't felt like it yet.
Okay. I wasn't okay because I thought it was Michelle Branch, but then I like wasn't sure because I was looking at your Bandcamp. I was like, well, I don't see it on here, so maybe like I'm getting it mixed up with a different song. Because yeah, I have been like, and I remember you had mentioned Michelle Branch before, but it's like it was just this week that I like I went and like started listening to her on Spotify. I don't know what gave me the urge, and then yeah, Christina came home and she's like, what are you into Michelle Branch? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess since I hung out with Assorted Potion.
Dude, yeah, she's awesome too. And I like her because she's when she first came out, her sound was kind of straddling a couple different things going on. So there's a little bit of pop punk thrown in there, a little bit of adult contemporary, like if you want to call stuff like Coldplay and Goo Goo Dolls adult contemporary, like Y2K, um, like Reality Bites, Dawson's Creek kind of music, which I love that stuff. And then there's like a little bit of butt rock sprinkled into her stuff, which I'm not like I'm a defender of butt rock in a sense. Like I don't listen to it like it's rock music. I listen to it like the same way that I would listen to pop music. And
I
for
mean,
that, I think it's amazing.
I can defend all music genres. There's like I can find at least one band, you know, like even like the shittiest, you know, like I just got like I got into it with a friend recently. He was like trying to tell me that he was trying to tell me that Creed sucked, and I'm just like, shut your
First,
mouth.
first off, like you take those guitar parts outside of out of context and they're great. Like the
Yeah,
Mark Tremonti is really creative. Um, and then yeah, the singing is hysterical. But the choruses in that band, some of those choruses are totally
it's,
undeniable.
it's catchy, you know. But man, and it's ooh, I got
No, speak your truth, speak your truth.
no. This is no. You know what? I'm gonna talk openly about this. This is Levi from Swamp Dragon. So
Hey, shout out to Swamp Dragon.
yeah, I didn't even start getting into it. Yeah, I don't know. He's like listing off all these bands that like he's like, yeah, man, this band sucks. And I was like, bands that like everybody just like roasts, but it's just like, come on, man, like you have to see like there's like something to appreciate. Cause yeah, he was like talking shit on like Linkin Park, and I'm like, do not
No,
tell me that no, it's not a good
no,
song. You're fucking
no, dude.
lying.
Paper Cut is like a beautiful song. I love it. The rapping in Linkin Park is not great, but you need it. The
Yeah.
songs don't make sense without it.
I've been on a big like new like just kind of like going back into like listening to like music that I grew up on. So I've been listening to a lot of like new metal lately. I was never huge into Linkin Park, but like there's songs that were like just real big at the time, like in the early 2000s. I can throw, I'll throw that on. I'll let it play in the playlist. I'm like, yeah, this kind of slaps. Like I'm not gonna.
Dude, Hybrid Theory is amazing. I do, and pe people are, I think we're maybe not like worldwide, but there are certain pockets of music that may have had a stigma around them. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of terrible new metal that did not age well. It was focus grouped, cynical. It was bad back then and it's bad now. But the stuff that was good, like Linkin Park, it's getting its due. The record store clerk in Kansas City, shout out to Hank if you're watching this, really cool guy. He's like, he's a big metalhead, very knowledgeable, obviously, about the underground. And he was not afraid to admit in front of God and everybody, Theory is a classic. Because he's right. It is a classic. It's
That's
amazing.
how you know someone's a real one. It's like if they like, yeah. There's no I don't know. There should be no shame in being able to be like, no, that album is a fucking banger. That album
Hmm.
slaps. Like anybody that can be like, yeah, no, that album fucking kicks ass. And it's like, I don't care what the album is, but it's like if you're proud to like be able to like say it and defend it, it's like yeah, like go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, I even have a one of my other friends is like, he's like a he's into Avril Lavigne, and it's just like funny because it's like this dude just shouts out Breck if he like I don't know he's probably not gonna like see this, but if he does, like this dude just like he's in a fucking hardcore band. He plays in he's the vocalist for Okami Seiki, which is like the
Mm.
black metal noise project. And yeah, dude, just like he's covered in tattoos, like long hair, just like looks like a hardcore dude, but he's a total sweetheart. And then like yeah, he's a big Avril Lavigne fan. Totally caught me
Um,
off guard when he told me about that.
dude, she has got some songs that are so amazing. Like, My Happy Ending, just when she does
Dude,
the just fade away, that part just it gets me every time. And you know
and
that there are like hardcore scenesters in her backing band or her old backing band.
oh, like the what they like used to play in other bands or what?
I don't remember the whole story, but there's this. So anybody watching this who remembers or is they're still active and they're still really popular. But that band Silverstein,
Oh
there's
yeah,
an
yeah.
so
Silverstein
they're not involved
slaps.
with that. They're amazing band. I mean, especially like Discovering the Waterfront, great
Oh
album.
yeah.
Um, they're not involved with Avril Lavigne as far as I know, but they're OGs. There's this band from their area in Canada called Grade, amazing band. Extremely similar stylistically. That's where Silverstein gets their sound from. Either the bassist or the drummer, when Grade broke up, got the call to be in Avril Lavigne's touring band. And he
Wait,
wasn't like the only hardcore musician in her band, if I remember correctly. So hey, she accidentally has some cred.
I don't know, man. Anybody who says that Skater Boy isn't a good song is lying because that
It's
song
great.
is yeah. It's
Gr-
I mean
Girlfriend's a great power pop tune too.
I don't know. Yeah, especially like when looked at in like the context of when it came out, it's just like you can't deny the importance of artists like Avril Lavigne, Linkin Park.
No, dude, Girlfriend was kind of like, I think it came out like a year or two before Single Ladies did, and the splash, it's not totally comparable, but it was still pretty big. I
Yeah.
remember Girlfriend and Single Ladies were like the two biggest songs in that 2 year time period.
What other like what other music I guess yeah, what other kind of music do you listen to where it's just kind of like if you just yeah to just to throw people for a loop, I guess. Like
Well, I mean, I don't know. I do want to talk about some like more cred music that that I also like. But I mean, I mean, we've covered a lot of it. I mean, I like oh, okay, I'll give you some. So when I was younger, the first heavy music outside of Metallica and whatnot, like the first, a little bit deeper than mainstream metal and hard rock that I was getting into was like the Warped Tour, swoopy hair, metalcore stuff. I know that anybody that grew up around that time, the early to mid 2000s, like those bands were unavoidable. There was no way if you were even a little bit interested in getting into uh something that you weren't going to hear on the radio that was loud and heavy, you're going to run
that's what
into the
you're
Devil Wears
into.
Prada.
Yeah.
You're going to hear the Devil Wears Prada. You're going to hear, of course, you're going to hear the greatest music video of all time, Stick Stickly by Attack Attack, which, oh, that video is incredible. A lot of that stuff I don't think has aged well. I don't think it's great. Stick Stickly I think has, because it's like an outsider piece, honestly. It's just the fact that they were so young and they came up with something so zany is
Yeah.
impressive. But like a lot of those other bands, I I don't
Do
think
you
they've aged
remember
well.
do you remember Broken Side? That's like some
Of
real
course I do.
outsider art.
Of course I do. So that is a bad band, but I think they're a fascinating band. And it's not
Yeah.
something that I listen to. That's not something I'm like, oh, I unironically like Broken Side because I don't. That would be a lie.
I don't see
Um,
that is the one band where it's like, yeah, they're like it's interesting, but like if someone told me that they liked them, I would think that they were no, it's like, no, you're lying.
yeah.
That
It,
like no goddamn way they have fans. Like
I
legit,
so one outsider artist that I did love and still do love is Lil B, the bass god, and he
I
has
fucking
like,
love Little B.
yeah,
Little
he's
B is
amazing.
man, no, I can make like I could probably write like a graduate level thesis on why Little B is one of the most important and influential figures in hip hop today.
Oh, dude,
And like,
especially with all of the music that like e-girls and e-boys and zoomers are into, that's anything rap related. It's
yeah,
all of it comes
it's all
from
Little
Lil
B
B.
was yeah,
Yeah,
like he was rapping over those types of beats like 10 years ago. And it's like,
yeah.
and he has so many like good songs too. It's just like he just
No,
releases so much like quantity of tracks
it
that it's like,
it's not all memes. Like he can
yeah,
really rap. He just chooses not to
yeah.
on some songs.
Yeah, anybody who disregards Little B, like if you go and listen to like fucking like I'm God, Motivation, fucking
The Age of Information, that's a great one
like
too.
oh man, there's just so many he, he has that album I'm not gonna say the actual title, but in parentheses it's I'm Happy.
Oh yeah, it's too long, but it's really good.
Yeah, that one is all like very like conscious, like lyrical, like because I think that's like
Hmm.
is considered like his main like actual studio album or whatever. But yeah,
Hmm.
he's got so many like and yeah, and his whole philosophy and like songs like motivation and shit. Like I don't know, like I've seen I don't know, like Lil B is like definitely like fucking meme lord, but like his whole philosophy and like the lyrics to some of his songs have literally like gotten me out of like some like really dark places and like
Hey,
it's been like that
that's
like inspiration. So yeah, shout out Lil
that's
B, man.
yeah, he's amazing. Thank you, Bass God.
Yeah, you praise God.
But what stuff from the swoopy hair MySpace era that I do still kind of like. There are a couple of Never Shout Never songs that I like just because I think that they're really catchy. But I would never call myself a fan because he has got some totally unlistenable music. Um, and same with from how you win me over, you give me a good chorus, I'm gonna like you. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter the context. So a band
you
that
can make a song
I'm
catchy.
not
Like,
if somebody tells me, oh, like this band sucks, I can't tell them otherwise. But there are a couple of Forever the Sickest Kids songs that I like quite a bit. A band that I will defend because I do think that they are great. I'll give you two. That first Panic at the Disco album is amazing.
that one's kind of
They they
yeah, I was real into it
they
when it
they
came out. Like that's like I haven't been able to go back to it though. I just like
there's
I don't
some
like
there's some songs that aren't great and they just
mm,
threw too much at the kitchen sink and they totally lost me after that album. But there's a bunch of great songs.
My Chemical Romance. Their second album still stands as like one of my top, probably like one of my top 10 albums of like all time.
So that record's amazing. I don't love the Black Parade because it gets into like certain types of theatrics that I'm
That's
that's
like
not
when
what
they
I'm
fell
looking
off
for in my
for me. It's
music.
like Three
Yeah,
Cheers for Sweet Revenge is like that's like
it,
peak.
but I don't need to tell people that Three Cheers is great. Like that band is definitely getting their due in a proper
Mhm.
way. But I do agree with you. One thing that I will say about that album though, and why I think My Chem is just so awesome, just beyond like what they did as a band and music, or what I'm about to talk to relates to their musicality. The song "Thank You for the Venom," that's just like a dark tranquility song. It sounds like a Swedish death
Yeah,
metal song. And they
dude.
ended
Yeah, like
up,
the
imagine being the biggest band in the world and you're doing melodic death metal riffs. Like
yeah, because
that's
like
just so cool to me.
yeah, dude. Yeah, you make a good point. It's like yeah, like the last couple of songs on that album, it just like the album kind of it has like that like kind of the slower interlude, and then it's like the last like four songs. They're all kind of just like it's like faster. The riffs are heavier, and
Hmm.
it's just like yeah, because that's like the whole album is like great start to finish. But it's like the last. Thank you for the. Is that one of the ones that's near the end? That might be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Thank You for the Venom is after interlude. You're right.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like the last like three or four songs is when the album just and I mean I guess it's kind of like when it reaches like the climax of like the
Hmm.
story in the album. Um but yeah, it's just like the instruments and shit just start getting really crazy and even like the vocals and stuff is like this kind of yeah. Uh great album.
I'll give you two more. Everybody, please return to these albums with a um, objective lens because they're great. The first All American Rejects album is amazing.
I
That it
remember the
is.
singles off that one. It was like, yeah.
It's the second one's also really good, and that one has "Move Along" and "It Ends Tonight" and oh my god, "Dirty Little Secret." Those are all great, but the first one, uh, I'm stealing this description from the guy who runs 6131 Records, but if you remember that band Piebald, it's if as if Piebald went like full top 40, and it's so good. And if the vocals bother you, totally understandable. Listen to the demos because he doesn't do the pop punk accent on the demos for that album, and it's like, oh, this guy's just these kids are just really good at writing pop songs. And then another one that I'll give you, the first Mayday Parade album, and that it's a tougher one to sell because the vocals are like really of that time, but it's really good. There's some the ballad, miss me with that. Everything else is a total barn burner.
Man. There's a, yeah, I don't know. I like it's kind of interesting revisiting
Oh,
like those old
I need to make sure people know that I'm not a poser really quick. Hold on. Okay, I like discordance access. All right.
and it's close. It's within grabbing distance, so it's not.
Yeah.
You don't have to go
Yeah.
looking for it.
Yeah.
All right, we can move away from the cringy. You know, I got to defend myself.
Yeah. I could tell you about cool stuff that I like too.
Yeah, let's talk about the real shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, yeah. So like, yeah, what have you been like listening to lately? That's like, yeah, you know, more.
more cool. I'll just
Yeah.
grab some stuff from my recently purchased record pile,
Oh yeah.
and this will give me an opportunity to show off some cool stuff. Um, oh yeah, I'll give you a nice big pile. Nice big pile. Oh yeah, this will be a fun section. All right, so this is all stuff that I bought on either on the road or in Austin or when I went to California to visit a friend like a month and a half ago. So these are all recent acquisitions. Boom. At the Gates, Gardens of Grief EP, OG. My friend's band, Dorio. This is great stuff.
I like that. What is it?
Um,
The cover
it's
is
a
cool.
yeah, dude, this stuff is amazing. He's really into like 90s, early 2000s uh Japanese, not J-pop, but like Japanese pop influenced maybe art pop kind of stuff. There's a band called Pizzicato 5 that this band cites as inspiration. If you never listened to that band, I'm do a bad job of describing them, but that's really good. Agnes Chan, this was a gift from Steven from No Mama's Distro. Go buy a whole bunch of stuff from him. This is just like J-pop, like 80s Gundam opener style, good dueling guitar solos with nice vocals. And XTC Flexi for the song Looking for Footprints. This is great. Just like funky post-punk with distinct vocals and great rhythm section. Enemy Soil and Corrupted split. This is so good. For those of you who don't know Corrupted, they're a Japanese funeral doom band, and all of their songs are in Spanish.
Oh shit.
Chubby's, what's this one called? I don't remember what the single is called. It's I Need You and Did You Have to Say That? Great, like Lookout Records style, Bay Area style pop punk. If you like Green Day, it's I think all lady band. Kind of sounds like early Green Day, or maybe not as snotty as Screeching Weasel, but it's awesome. Um, I don't remember the other band on this split, but this is a local band called Mental Abortion. I don't remember the other band. Haven't listened to
Great
this yet,
band name.
honestly. Um, this is a good one. This is a split between the bands Karate and The Loon. Um, Karate, I haven't listened to the Loon side yet, but Karate, their first two albums and the singles that they released around that time, if you like post rock or slowcore, you gotta listen to it. It's like apex music, if you ask me. And then this is something that I got from the gate. This is the Psy and Abigail split. And I haven't gotten a
Yeah.
chance to listen to it yet, but I'm very excited about it. Also, haven't listened to this. This is like an indie rock band called Coral. I just bought it because it's on Merge Records, and I tend to like their stuff. Um, this is a band called Black Dice. I think they're
Love
from
Black
DC.
Dice.
Yeah, haven't listened to this yet either, but it's supposed to be good. This is a Britpop band called Echo Belly. As a red-blooded American, am not always into Britpop other than some Oasis songs, but I really like the cover and I was willing to give it another chance. And then Wale, oh man, this guy, he
Back to
could have been so
balling.
good. He could have been so good. And some of those mixtapes are so awesome. But I saw this and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta scoop this.
Is he still around? Like making music? I
And
feel
I
like
think so, but like
that's a fucking name I
not
haven't heard in forever. What?
it's his music's not doing well like it used to.
Yeah.
Dudes, that stuff that he was doing in the late 2000s, early 2010s, some of it was so good. Um, I only got like five more things to show. Screeching Weasel single. Also haven't gotten to listen to this yet, but just like amazing pop punk. The Oath, like crazy fast, hardcore. Acrid, Bombs of Death. That band I was talking about, Grade, one of the dudes from Acrid, I think the bassist, ended up being the singer in Grade. Um, this is awesome. This is a band called Poison from Japan, so sometimes called Poison Arts. Ripping Japanese hardcore with awesome riffs. There's an amazing like White Snake style ballad at the end of side one. It's so good. Um, I'll just show this last one. Emmett Rhodes, 70s kind of folk rock, power pop songwriter guy. Also haven't gotten a chance to listen to this yet, but he is great. If you like you know, songwriting savants like the Beatles or the Beach Boys, it's not that same kind of style, but it's that same kind of intent. So I know that was a lot, but yes, that's just an example of some stuff that I've been picking up.
Oh yeah. No, that's cool. Like, yeah, I did like what? Yeah, no, that was cool. Getting to actually like see like the you go through each thing. Like that's dope. So that's all like shit that you picked up. Um, like most of it was from when you did your tour thing, right?
Some tours, some vacations, some around here. It's all within the past 2 months.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been. I don't know. I haven't been picking up as many. I kind of just like fallen into just buying tapes lately. Like I haven't been picking up as many.
Hmm.
Like here and there, I pick up a record, but like my record player is like not. It's like not hooked up. It's gotten moved around a couple of times, and like I haven't gotten it set up, so I just kind of like haven't been picking up. Yeah, I haven't grabbed as much vinyl lately, but I want to get back. I don't know. I want to get back into it. It's just the space. I already
But
have tapes everywhere.
vinyl's the only thing that I collect, which I know it's the hardest one because it takes up the most space and costs the most money, but I can only let myself do one. Otherwise,
Yeah.
like
No,
I have tapes just being involved in this scene, but I don't have anything to play them on, and I don't intend on getting anything to play them on.
no, it's like yeah. I don't know. I feel like I should just like pick one or the other and like stick with
Mhm.
it because when I was like back in high school when I got into like buying records and like trying to go to like well back then it's like we didn't even have a record store in town. It was like we'd have to go out to like Lawrence to like pick up records
Mhm.
if we wanted to shop in person. Uh, but then I ended up getting into tapes too, and it was like we weren't really in the tape renaissance yet, but it's like you were able to get like some like art, like indie artists and stuff started doing releases on tapes, and I just like I have like a hoarder mentality, so it's like I would be double dipping, buying the album on vinyl and then buying it on tape too
Mhm.
when I'd come across it. So it's just like I mean, it's fine, I'm not supporting the artists that I like, but it's just like as far as just having things though, I don't need that much stuff.
Yeah, the stuff is cool. It's hard to say no
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I have too much shit. That can be like a whole thing of me just like I'll just sit in front of the camera for 4 hours, just like yeah, let me just show you guys the cool stuff that I
That might not be a bad bonus episode idea.
yeah, just like random. Yeah, I don't know. I just have like so many random like not even just music things, just random knickknacks that I feel like it just could be of interest. If I'm just like, well, check this out. Um,
I'll ask you one question and then
yeah,
we'll wrap it up. First off, thank you so much for starting this. I've loved both of the other episodes. Um, Inviting me to be on and just be, asking really fun questions and getting everybody engaged in some of the inner workings of people that you had on here. Really thankful that you're doing something like this. But I feel like I want to flip the script a little bit before we end things. You've asked me a lot of great questions. What's something that you would like to take the time to plug on the nocturnal dissonance side of things, or just something that you want to tell the world?
yeah. So you had asked me, yeah, what I want to plug. Shit, man. I don't know. Yeah, I have like I don't know. There's like a few things in the works for like the rest of the year. Like as far as releases and stuff. Like me, I kind of talked about with Barkin and Spice, but I haven't like actually done the official announcement yet. But we're releasing their split with yeah, it's Spife and then Saltmarsh. And then I have like a few other releases coming up. I guess like yeah, I'll just find my notebook. I'll just go kind of go through it and I'll give people like yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give people like people that make it through this like 2 hour podcast can get like a little sneak peek of what I got in the works as far as the podcast and new releases go. So yeah. So yeah, I have their split with Spice and Barkin coming out. Um got some stuff in the works with another release from Peter from Serpent Moon, which is now like a dead project, but now he has like uh, a noise project, and but he has. So we have some stuff coming up that from his noise project, Angelingus, and then he's got this like solo project that will be coming out in this upcoming batch. That's like it's like his take on like it's like orchestral, like ambient, like it's like some really intense, like just, it's so good, and it's like he sent this to me like I think it was like last year. So this is like way before the Oppenheimer movie came out, but the whole album is like inspired by Robert Oppenheimer. And like so yeah, we were gonna do it's gonna be like a limited edition thing with like a special kind of like the clamshell cassette
Mm,
cases. And it's gonna have like a bunch of like I don't know, he's got all these like crazy inserts and stuff that kind of like tell the story that go with this album, and it's like that it's one that's been in the works for like a little bit. So like glad to like finally be getting that out. And that one's like that's what I'm looking forward to. Um, Releasing a split with Kevin, who's from who did like Ghost Spawn and Ancestor Moth. He's got like this gore grind project that we're like releasing a split with this year. Um, the Vampire Skog and Witches Forest. They had a split. I think that came out last year. We're gonna put that out. That'll be the final Witches Forest physical. So that'll be dope. I'm excited for that. Uh,
what's
got
Witch's
a
Forest like?
Witches Forest is like atmospheric black metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like yeah, just like atmospheric black metal. But now he's just kind of like he ended that project to kind of like reinvent the project, I guess, because it's kind of like doing more of like a like Witches Forest. I think was kind of more like fantasy inspired, and now he's kind of going for like a more exploring stuff more with like indigenous black inspired black metal, like kind of like the just taking stuff from like his yeah, like his like background and stuff
Do you
but
know
yeah,
do you know what tribe he is or what his
uh
background is?
man, he went into it with me, and now I can't recall exactly what it is. He's half Mexican, and then the other half is yeah, some kind of Native American. I can't remember what tribe it was. He told me though. uh but yeah, yeah, I
A,
can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah.
a bunch of those bands are so good. Like Pan American Native Front is
Yeah,
awesome.
I love seeing it. I think it's like super cool, and like yeah, he's doing like yeah, I don't know, I really dig it. I think like there like yeah, there needs to be like more of it, you know, just like because it's such a I don't know. There's a lot of like a lot of rich storytelling there that I feel like is perfect. That like black metal is like a perfect medium for, you know, just like
Hmm.
the yeah. Uh, and yeah, it's like new project. I don't know how to pronounce it because it's in like it's like Guero. I can't pronounce it because it's in Spanish. But yeah, it's I'm super stoked on it. The he's like just started recording like new music for it and stuff. So
That's
um
awesome.
yeah, I'm stoked for that. He's like yeah, and he's like really you know, him and Vamper Skog and well shit, or yeah, even just Daedric Chamber, like they're all just they're young but then so talented. It just like I can't wait to
I
see like
I think
you know
Daedric Chamber is still in high school.
yeah yeah
Wild.
yeah he's like I think he might graduate next year, but yeah
Crazy.
it's fucking insane.
Shout out that he was one of the early supporters of Assorted Potions, so big shout out to him.
Yeah, he's a great dude, like and a really good friend. I'm gonna have him come on here eventually. Um yeah, I have like a couple other releases, but it's just kind of like things are moving around and stuff. But like I do have like a lot of stuff coming out with like people that I've worked with previously. So I guess that's kind of like what I'll mention, and I'll just kind of leave it at that, you know. I have some new stuff with Winter of Thanatos should be coming out later this year too.
Nice.
I worked with like earlier this year, so looking forward to that. Trying to get back to my yeah, and then with the podcast, man, I have like I mean, yeah, like I have like it's a list of people that like they've already agreed to it, so I don't mind you know putting it out there. Uh, but yeah, I'm hoping that like eventually Woden Weird is going to come on.
Wow.
Which is Forest and Vamperstoke. I'm planning on having on at some point. Dude from Bloodlet Throne is going to come on at some point. Daedric Chamber. Um, let's see, and yeah, and then I'm trying to get like some record label folks on there. Talk to um the lady that runs Fiat. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name because I'll wait for her to like tell me how to pronounce it. But yeah, she's gonna come on at some point, whenever I can like schedule it in. And then Big Tobacco Records said that they would be like interested in
Oh,
coming on. I asked them, and I wanted to get Barley Base, the guy who runs Relics of the Eternal City, to come on at some point
mhm.
too. I guess with the record label people, I'll probably just try to time it like time it around whenever they have like a new releases coming out. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I got this list going of like people that I've were either like hit me up or I'm just like, yo, you're doing interesting stuff. And we're already friends. I need you to get on here. So I got like a nice little list of like 10 people. Uh, and then yeah, that's just like constantly expanding. Like yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not like a big like podcast guy, but I really like if I'm like really into like a musician or something, I'll like go and seek out like interviews with them. So like,
Yep.
yeah. I tell you, with podcasts, it's not like there's a few that like I listen to, but it's just like I'm not like one of those people that's like constantly just like I'm into podcasts. When I do listen to them, I like these like long form, just free flowing, like like you're just listening to someone talk. And so that's kind of what I'm just like really going for with this. It's just like, yeah, just getting all the homies on and talking to them for a little bit.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And then yeah, man, besides that, like I guess yeah, just trying to keeping this rolling. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. It's tough for me to like put myself out there as far as like promoting things. Like
I will be posting this to my tens of millions of followers once it comes out.
no, I appreciate it. Like anybody that's like shared so far is like, I like super appreciate it and like, so grateful that like people are like into it, because it's just like, yeah, I mean, as long as just like one or two people are like, hey, I listened to this and like it was pretty good. That's enough for me to keep it going.
Mhm.
So, the response so far has been like super cool. So I'm like, yeah, really glad to see that people are like into it and that people are like wanting to come on and like are excited about like,
Oh,
you know,
it's as soon as I found out you're doing a pod, I was like, I have to bug him about this. I have to come on, and it's been
yeah,
amazing. I've had a great time chopping it up.
yeah, no, this is like so cool. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's cool because it's like otherwise I wouldn't get to like have long form conversations with people outside of like DMs because it's like
Mhm.
it's like yeah, maybe I'll see you next year when you come back to town, or like maybe I'll catch you at a Dallas show or something. But it's like I like getting to have this like chance to like hop on and like catch up with you again. Like this is
Yeah,
this is
dude.
cool.
Nah,
So
dude. Yeah,
yeah,
but got to make time for the homies. That's how
hell yeah,
that's how you
yeah,
got to do it.
dude. I mean, because after that show, we're homies for life. Like
Oh,
we're
dude,
we're
we
bonded,
broke
dude.
bread. There's no
Yeah,
coming back. There's no turning back now. We're friends.
yeah.
That's just how it is.
We broke Peter.
We did. We broke some pita bread.
Yeah,
It's codified now.
yeah. It is canon.
It's yep, set in stone.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I guess we could like we could wrap it up here. Do you have anything to promote or anything to any final words of wisdom from a thread mage?
In terms of promotion, the Michelle Branch song will come out eventually. I'm not rushing it. I got a bunch of stuff in
Needed.
my I got a bunch of stuff in my personal life that it's good stuff, but it's just keeping me busy. Um, and I'm about to go on a nice international vacation. If anybody has recommendations for London, please let me know. I'm
Ooh,
going
man.
in like 2 weeks, so please let me know.
Man,
Um,
that's awesome, dude. Have a safe trip. I'm like, have
Thank
fun.
you.
That's got awesome. Like, oh yeah.
I appreciate that. Words of wisdom. Uh, Keep loved ones in your life close. Don't forget to tell your friends and family that you love them. Um, there's going to be time where chaos enters your life and you can't do anything about it, but hopefully you either have the strength yourself or you'll have a strong base of good people around you to help you through any sort of adversity. So please try not to close yourself off from those who care about you and things that are good for you and that enrich your life. Um, Trying to think of other. I think I'll just go off there because then I'll get into word salad. TLDR. Be kind to yourself and try to surround yourself with good, loving people. And I'll do one music thing. Anybody can do this. Please start making music today and send it to me. I want to hear it.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
please just start a band or just start making noises in your room, record it, and put it on the internet. I want
Just
to hear it.
anything. Just put it out
Yeah.
there, like the world wants to hear it. And like,
Hmm.
yeah, as great as like the loner in his basement making tortured music is cool and everything, but it's like actually I don't know. Art is meant to be it's meant to be heard and seen,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter if people like it. It's just like, but it's meant to be put out there, in my
Yep.
opinion. So yeah,
Absolutely.
dude, yeah. Beautiful words of wisdom and advice. Thank you so much, dude. That's I'm gonna have to start like I gotta start wording the end of the podcast like that, was like words of wisdom. So then it just really turns into like because yeah, I love that. That was great. Um, but yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on, chopping it up with me, shooting the shit with me. This was so much fun. Like, yeah, definitely gonna bring you back on again because like there's just so much like bullshit that you and me could get onto it and like talk about. But like,
Yeah. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for providing the space and the forum for me to, just have a great conversation with you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, of course, dude. Like, this is great. Uh, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, brother.
Oh, I can't wait. And
Yeah.
yeah, really excited to see how this one turns out.